What's up, everybody? Big Swede coming at you once again from Swede Studios. So a few days ago, I got a comment on one of my videos, and the guy was basically accusing me of cheating. We're going to go into the comment a little bit more, but it also got me thinking, like, on the whole about, like, what is and isn't cheating in music nowadays. So, we'll go over the comments, what was said, how I responded. But then I kind of want to go into my opinion on what is and isn't cheating when it comes to the studio, music production, stuff on YouTube, and then also a little bit into the live side of things when we're talking about backing tracks, which has been like a hot topic lately. So let's get into the comment first. All right, so Guitar Lord, who has no content of his own, by the way, he says, cool cover, even though you are cheating, you're not really playing. The singing and playing are separate shots. Yes, very astute. They are separate shots. I did record my audio ahead of time, and then once I had a full mix done, I set up my video camera, and I shot my video to the playback of the full mix, which is how music videos are shot. So I respond back to him. I say, thanks, I guess. You do know how music videos work, right? Unless it's a live performance, pretty much all music videos are mimed to playback. Are they all cheating too? All right, so he responds, that's different. They recorded the song in a studio first. I don't even see any amps. How are you playing? Okay, let's break that into two. First, that's different. They recorded the song in a studio first. Yes, they did. As did I. And so I responded, that's exactly what I did. All my parts were pre-recorded in my home studio, and then I recorded the videos. Because that's how music videos are shot. They're not playing live on the set where they're filming the music video. They're playing back the mix that they recorded in the studio, and they are miming their parts. That's how music videos are shot. Now, the second part of this, I don't even see any amps. How are you playing? Okay, let's just forget for a second we live in the world we do with technology. Just because you don't see an amp in that shot doesn't mean there isn't one there. It could be out of frame, it could be on the other side of the room, whatever the case is. Now, in this case, I was using an amp sim, and I told him, as for amps, I don't always use physical amps. A lot of times, I record direct to the computer and use amp sims. All right, here's where it starts to get good. Guitar Lord responds, that's even worse. You obviously don't know how to play if you need the computer to do the work for you. At this point, I'm trying to figure out, is this guy serious or is he just trolling me? Like, you got to think he's got to be trolling me, because in this day and age, it's hard to picture somebody that is really that dense that doesn't get the fact that the computer isn't playing the part for me. Is that what he thinks, that the computer is playing the guitar for me? So I was like, what? No, the computer's, and I was like, dude, you're making my head hurt trying to figure out if you're serious or trolling. I seriously hope you're trolling. To which he responds, no, real musicians don't need computers to cheat. And at this point, all I could do is laugh, because this dude obviously has no clue about how modern music is produced. Real musicians don't need computers to cheat. Bro, computers are used on 99.999% of every recording that comes out nowadays. It's just the way it is. Tape is not prevalent anymore. Computers is where everything is recorded nowadays. All right, now that nonsense is out of the way, let's get into the bigger topic of what is and isn't cheating. Right off the bat, I'm going to say there's always going to be those purists out there that say that anything you do to an original recording of something, anything you do to alter that is cheating. Be that time aligning, overdubbing, punching things in, any kind of pitch correction, that's all cheating. I disagree with that. I think that is a very outdated way of thinking. If that's your take, that's fine. You're entitled to it, but you might as well click off this video because you're going to disagree with most of what I have to say. I don't think there's anything wrong with any of those things, but you have to look at it in context. And we'll get more into that when we get into my opinion on what is and isn't cheating. As I said, we're going to kind of split this up. Most of what I'm going to talk about is referring to the studio, putting videos out there for YouTube, that kind of stuff. But then at the tail end, I'm going to talk a little bit about the live aspect of things and backing tracks, which has kind of been a hot button thing. And I'll give you my take on that. So let's get into the studio side of things, and I'll tell you what I think is cheating and isn't cheating. All right, when it comes to recording music in the studio, in my opinion, these things are not cheating. Number one, overdubbing, punching in, that kind of thing. I don't subscribe to the one take theory where you have to play the song perfectly from start to finish, or else it's not a legit take, it's cheating. I don't agree with that at all. I think if you play a song from start to finish and it's perfect except for one little spot, I think it's stupid to go back and re-record the entire song. You already nailed 99% of it, so find your mistake and punch in that section and play it correctly, and you're just recording that one little spot to fix the mistake. That seems like a much smarter way to do things. Me personally, I rarely even attempt to record a song from start to finish, not because I can't play it from start to finish, but as guitar players know, the more you play, sometimes your strings can go slightly out of tune, flat, sharp, whatever. So in order to keep the tuning consistent throughout the song, I'll record in sections. So I'll record maybe like the intro, and then I stop and I retune. And then I'll record the first verse, and then I'll stop and I'll retune. And, any mistakes along the way, I'll go back, I'll either re-record that section, or if it's just one small little spot, I'll go in and punch in that section to make it right. That is not cheating. All right, number two is going to be editing. With this, I would include anything like time aligning or pitch correction, that type of thing. And this is also where most people are going to chime in and say, oh, that's cheating. They couldn't play it that way in real life, so you had to go in and fix it. And I don't look at it that way. I think that the entire point of going in the studio and recording something is to create the best possible version of this song that you can. Now, could you get it perfect without editing? Yeah, you probably could. It's going to take you a lot more takes, a lot more time and effort to get it perfect. So the way I look at it is you get a good quality performance and then go in and you nudge the very slight issues with it. Now, obviously, if there's a huge mistake, yes, you re-record that part. But if there's something that's it's slightly off, but everything else about it was great, why ruin that great take instead of just fixing that one little mistake? The best drummers in the world are going to vary in tempo. They're going to push or pull the tempo slightly. If you have vocals, let's say you have a main vocal, you got a double, maybe you got some backing vocals as well. It's very difficult to get all those vocals to come in at the exact same point. Usually you're going to have one or two that are slightly ahead, slightly behind, and what that does is it pulls the impact of that line down. So if you go in there after the fact and you slightly nudge them all so they come in at the exact same time, you get that punch, you get that oomph, and that's what you're going for. You're trying to get the best version of the song possible. Now, depending on the genre you're working with, that may or may not matter. Like punk, for example, is very notorious for not caring. Like it could be out of tune, out of time. They don't care. It's about the vibe. It's anti-conformity, anti-establishment. They don't care if it sounds polished. It's about the vibe. And if that's what you're going for, great, by all means. But other genres have an expectation that the drums and the instruments and everything are going to be very tight and aligned to the grid. And that's just the way it is. And if you're not doing that stuff, you're putting out an inferior product. The same thing goes for pitch correction. Now, if a singer delivers a line and, man, like the emotion and everything, it's a beautiful performance, but when he first came in, he was slightly flat. Do I throw away that entire take that was great just because that one little section was a little flat? No, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to pitch correct that one little spot to make it sound better because the overall performance of that line was great. Again, is that saying he couldn't do that in real life? No, we could have done that take again. He could have nailed it perfectly, but maybe the rest of the line, maybe it doesn't have the same emotion, the same feel. You could sing the same line 30 times and you're going to get one or two that are really good and then other ones that are okay. And that's editing. That's part of the process of making a good song. All right, number 3 is going to be technology. This is going back to that original comment. We're talking about computers, amp sims, virtual instruments, that kind of thing, which is absolutely not cheating. Like I said in my response to him, like the computer, the amp sim is not playing the guitar for me. I still have to know how to play guitar. I still have to know how to play that song in order to record it into the computer. The only thing that amp sim is doing is it's replacing my real amp that I have back there with a digital version of it. That's it. It's making the noise that the amp would make. So why do people use that? You know, it's convenient. I don't have to worry about hooking up a microphone and getting everything set right. I just record it into the computer. I pick an amp I want to play through and boom, I have that sound. Easy. The main reason for a lot of guys is noise. Like maybe you live in an apartment, or in my case, like I'm in my home studio. If I'm down here at 2, 3 in the morning and I want to record something, everybody else upstairs is sleeping. I can't crank up my amplifier. I'll piss everybody off. So with an amp sim, I can record directly into my computer. I can put headphones on and I can record silently and not piss anybody off. And it still sounds like I'm playing through a real amp, which is great. Technology is great, but it's absolutely not cheating because I still have to know how to play the damn instrument. The same thing goes for virtual instruments. I guess it's a little gray area because, like, let's say I want to add strings. I want to add some violins and some cellos. Do I know how to play the violin or the cello? No. But with virtual instruments, I can have those elements in my song. Now, yes, I don't know how to play that instrument per se, but I do know enough about the music to tell that virtual instrument what notes and what chords to play. So I still have to have the knowledge of the song and some music theory, that kind of thing, to tell that computer what to do. It's not like AI, I can just type in, play this song, and it plays it. It's not the way it works. You still have to be able to program what notes, chords, etc. you want that virtual instrument to play. Same thing with drums. You can do electronic drums. You can just program them out. Like, okay, on this hit, I want a snare, I want a kick, I want a cymbal. You still have to be able to program that stuff into the computer to be able to have it play back. So it's absolutely not cheating. 100% not cheating. All right, so what do I consider cheating in the studio environment? I'm also going to include some YouTube things in this, since that's where this whole thing started, was based off of a YouTube comment. But it's a broad definition, but it's very simple. If you're using any of the tools we talked about to create something that you could not do in real life, that's cheating. If you are using pitch correction to hit notes that you couldn't hit in real life, let's say you're trying to sing something and you don't have the range, you can't do it. So you record the same line in a lower key, and then you use pitch correction to pitch it up to the key you want it to be in. That's cheating because you can't really do that in real life. Another example for, let's say, guitar. Let's say when you're playing at full speed, you just cannot get this riff down. So in the computer, you slow the song down so you can play it slower, but then you speed it back up to make it seem like you played it at real time. That's cheating. All right, on the YouTube side of things, like I was talking about, for music video type stuff, if you're playing along, miming to a backing track that you recorded already to do your video, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's how music videos are done. Where it becomes misleading or cheating is if you are, let's say you're doing an instructional type video, or if you're doing some kind of demonstration to show your skill. You should not be going in and editing or changing things after the fact. You should be showing your skill. And if that's what you are, presenting to people, that's what it should be. If you're going in after the fact and you're speeding things up to make yourself seem better than you are, misleading. Especially if you are selling some kind of product to make other people better, if you're selling some kind of instructional material, you better not be editing yourself after the fact. Like, you should be putting yourself out there what you really are. And if you're editing things to make yourself seem better than you are, you're definitely misleading people and ripping people off if you're selling something. Another thing would be using someone else's audio and presenting it as your own. That's cheating 100%. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. All right, really quickly before we wrap this up, I said I was going to touch on the aspect of playing live and using backing tracks in a live performance. What's cheating and what's not cheating? It's kind of been a hot button topic with several artists going back and forth on the subject. Everybody in the music community as a whole kind of chiming in. My opinion on this is using backing tracks for anything other than replacing the main elements of a song is perfectly fine. It is not cheating to use backing tracks for, a click track, cues, even stuff that the audience is going to hear. As we talked about before, maybe you're in the studio and you're recording a song and you want to add some strings, or you want to add some synth, or, some element that you don't have a player in your band to play. It is perfectly fine to take those elements from the studio version and play them as backing tracks to make the song sound like it did on the album. That's what your fans came there to see. They came there to see you perform these songs that they love. And if those elements are missing, you lose some impact. So it's absolutely fine to use those elements as backing tracks. I would even say that backing vocals is fine too, because sometimes, like, maybe in your band, your lead vocalist is the only guy in the band that can hold a tune. So when you go in the studio, he records all the vocals. He does the main vocals, he does the backing vocals, harmonies, whatever. So if you then go out on stage and he's the only guy that can sing, you're missing a lot of your song there, and you're going to miss some of that impact. So it's absolutely fine to take those backing vocals and play them back as a track as you perform the song. Where I draw the line is if you are replacing any of the main elements of the song. If you're replacing your main vocal, your guitars, your bass, your drums, and the person is just standing there on stage pretending to play it, that is absolutely cheating. And it's very telling. It tells me that you cheated in the studio to get it to sound good, because if you can't play it on stage, you obviously couldn't play it in the studio either. So yeah, if you're replacing any of those main performance elements with backing tracks and you're just up there faking it, yes, that is absolutely 100% cheating. If you're using backing tracks to enhance the performance that you're giving to make it sound like the album, 100% fine. And you don't even know how many bands are using tracks. Like, pretty much everybody out there is using some form of a backing track. Some of it is stuff only they can hear, cues, click, that kind of stuff. Others, like I said, adding in elements for ambiance, whatever the case is. But most bands out there use tracks. There are some outliers that don't, but most guys in this day and age are using it. And that's my take on backing tracks. All right, that's all we got today. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. If you would, please give me that thumbs up if you like the video, and leave me some comments down below. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'm always open for a discussion as long as people are interested in having a discussion. If you're not subscribed and you just stumbled across the video, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Check out everything else the channel has to offer, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.